Hello everyone, I am Yashaswini and today we are going to learn balancing chemical reactions. Remember, in your exams you should always write your answer with balanced chemical reaction to score full marks. And also, if you have once learned balancing, no, you don't have to by heart your reactions. You can just remember the reactants and products and balance it on your own in your exam. So balancing chemical reactions is based on law of conservation of mass. That is, the number of atoms on the reactant side should be equal to the number of atoms on the product side. So let's try balancing with an example. Hydrogen reacts with oxygen to give H2O. Here hydrogen and oxygen is your reactant side and H2O is your product side. Let's before balancing, make sure the first step is to write the number of atoms. So we'll write the number of atoms on the reactant side. Here hydrogen is one element and the number of atoms is 2. And here oxygen is one element and the number of atoms is 2. We wrote it for the reactant side. Very similarly, let's write even for the product side. Here hydrogen is one element, the number of atoms is 2, and oxygen is one element and the number of atoms is just 1. So the law of conservation of mass told that the number of atoms should be the same, but oxygen atoms are not the same. So we have to balance it. To balance it, what we will do, we'll go to the lesser side. Here oxygen is 2 on the reactant and 1 on the product. So we'll go to the lesser side and increase it. So to increase it, we will multiply. So I am multiplying here with 2 because oxygen should be increased to 2. How this? So when I multiply 2 here, when nothing is written, it means 1. That is 2 times 1. The number of oxygen atoms became 2. Now since the number of oxygen atoms became 2, even hydrogen atoms will increase because I have multiplied here. So 2 times 2, even hydrogen atoms became 4. So oxygen atoms is 2 here, oxygen atoms is 2. Oxygen got balanced. But if you see here, hydrogen is not balanced. Hydrogen is 4 here, but hydrogen is only 2 atoms on the reactant side. So we'll come to the lesser side again and increase it. To increase it, we will multiply. So I'm multiplying with 2. So when I multiply it with 2, 2 times 2, I will get 4 hydrogen atoms. So 4 hydrogen, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. The number of atoms is balanced. In a very similar manner, let's take another example. So in this reaction, glucose is reacting with oxygen to give carbon dioxide and water. So the first step, remember the first step in balancing is write down the atoms on both reactant and product side. So first we'll take the reactant side, carbon, there are 6 carbon atoms. Next hydrogen, there are 12 hydrogen atoms. And oxygen, here 6 plus 2. So there are totally 8 oxygen atoms. Same thing let's do even for the product side. Carbon, there is only one carbon atom. Hydrogen, there are 2 hydrogen atoms. And oxygen, there are 2 plus 1, 3 oxygen atoms. Always remember, start balancing with one of the important elements. Oxygen and hydrogen are a culprit, so try balancing them at the last. So we'll start with carbon. Carbon is 6 on the reactant and 1 on the product. So we have to go to the lesser side. Here's 1, so we will increase it. To increase it, we will multiply. So I am multiplying 6 here. 6 times 1, carbon became 6. Now when I am multiplying 6 here, even oxygen is getting multiplied. So 6 times 2, oxygen became 12 here and 1. 12 plus 1 became 13 oxygen atoms. Carbon got balanced. Now the second element, hydrogen. Hydrogen is 12 on the reactant and 2 on the product. So we have to go to the lesser side and multiply. So 2 here, so I will again write 6 for the water molecule. So 6 times 2, hydrogen also became 12 atoms. Here oxygen is also getting increased again. So 6 times 1, 6. 6 times 2, 12. 12 plus 6, oxygen became 18. Now hydrogen 12, hydrogen 12, hydrogen is balanced, but oxygen is still not balanced. Oxygen is 8 here and 18 on the product side. So we'll come to the lesser side and we have to increase it. 18. So here only 8. 8 in 8 also 6 is from the glucose molecule. Let's not touch that. Let's take the single molecule. We have to increase it. So I'll multiply here with 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 6, only 16, so it is not balanced. So we'll try multiplying it with 6. 6 times 2 became 12. 12 plus 6, 18. Now the number of oxygen atoms became 18. Hence, the reaction is balanced. If you are also wondering why there is a triangle symbol here, this triangle symbol represents that this reaction is an exothermic reaction. So to check if we have understood balancing better, let's solve a few questions. This was a question that was asked in 2008. In your CBSE board 10th grade paper, there will never be a question without balancing chemical reaction. So either 1 marker or a 2 marker on balancing of chemical reactions is a must. So let's try balancing this. The question says iron reacts with water to give iron oxide and hydrogen gas. First, in balancing, if there is a metal reacting, no, it simplifies the balancing. Why? Because you will always balance the metal first. First, we'll write the number of reactants on both the sides. Iron is 1, hydrogen is 2, oxygen is 1. Then for the product side, iron is 3 atoms of hydrogen, 3 atoms of iron, hydrogen is just 2 atoms, and oxygen is 4. So we are starting the balancing with the metal. Iron is less on the reactant side and more on the product side. Coming to the reactant side, and we have to multiply. So I will multiply 3 on the reactant side. Now the number of atoms on the reactant side became 3, which is equal to the number of atoms on the product side. Next, hydrogen. Hydrogen is 2 on the reactants, 2 on the products. Both are balanced. Now we have to see oxygen. Oxygen is 4 on the products and 1 on the reactant. So come to the lesser side, which is here, and we have to multiply. I will multiply this with 4. Now the number of oxygen became 4. And I am multiplying to the whole molecule here. That is, even hydrogen is getting multiplied. 4 times 2, hydrogen also became 8. So oxygen is balanced 4 and 4, but hydrogen is not balanced 8 and 2. So we have to go to the, again, let's go to the lesser side and we will try balancing. 4, so I am multiplying here also with 4. 4 times 2, hydrogen also became 8. Therefore, the number of atoms on the reactant side and the product side is balanced. And if you write this reaction with the balancing, you will get 1 full mark. Let's take one more question. This was a question which was asked in 2009 as 1 marker. So in this reaction, lead nitrate is giving lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. We'll go with the first step. The first step is to write the number of atoms on the reactant side and the product side. So on the reactant side, we have lead, 1 atom, nitrogen, 1 times 2. So there are 2 nitrogen atoms. Oxygen, 3 times 2, there are 6 oxygen atoms. Very similarly, let's go to the product side. Lead oxide, lead is 1 atom. Then for nitrogen, there is only 1 nitrogen atom. And oxygen, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2. So 5 oxygen atoms are present. So always remember, try balancing with the metal. Lead 1 atom on both the sides. Lead is balanced. Next is nitrogen. Nitrogen is 2 on the reactant and 1 on the products. So let's go to the lesser side and multiply it with 2. So when we multiply it with 2, the nitrogen became 2. And since we are multiplying the whole molecule, even oxygen is increasing. 2 times 2, 4. 4 plus 2, 6. 6 plus 1. So there are 7 oxygen atoms now. So nitrogen got balanced. Next, oxygen, there are 6 on the reactant side and 7 on the product side. Therefore, it is not balanced. We have to balance it. So what we will do, we will multiply, we'll come to the lesser side and we will multiply it. So the easiest multiplication is with 2. So when I multiply oxygen with 2, the number of oxygen atoms became 12, and since I'm multiplying the whole molecule, even lead and nitrogen became got increased. Therefore lead atom also became 2, and nitrogen 2 times 2, so 4 nitrogen atoms. Again, after multiplying this, always start balancing with the metal. So lead was only 1, we have to increase it, we will multiply it with 2. So the number of lead atoms became 2. Now nitrogen is 4, so we'll multiply 4 here. So even the number of nitrogen atoms became 4. Now let's count the oxygen. There are 2 here, 4 times 2, 8, 8 plus 2, 10, 10 plus 2, 12. You need not balance anything for oxygen because balancing lead and nitrogen balanced even the oxygen. The number of atoms on both reactant and product became equal. We'll take one more question which was asked very recently in 2012 for 1 marker. See, in your exam, no, the question might be asked both directly and indirectly. Directly, they'll give you an equation and ask you to balance, or they could give you the word form of the equation and ask you to balance. So, word form of the equation, if they are given, you have to convert the word form to the molecular form. You have to write the formula for all of them and balance it. Here, the question says that sodium, Na, the symbol for sodium is Na, it is reacting with water. Water is H2O. When they react, what are the products formed? They have told sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So sodium hydroxide is NaOH plus hydrogen gas is H2. This is the reaction. First you write the reaction, then write the number like this, then we start balancing. To start balancing, first we'll write the number of atoms. So sodium is 1 on the reactant side and same on the product side. Then hydrogen is 2 here, oxygen is 1. Let's do it for the, let's write it for even the product side. Hydrogen is 1 plus 2. There are 3 hydrogen and oxygen is just 1. Therefore, we have written the number of atoms. So first we'll start with the metal. Sodium is 1, sodium is 1, sodium is balanced. We don't have to worry about it. But if we see hydrogen, hydrogen is 2 here and hydrogen is 3 here. It is not balanced. So we'll come to the lesser side and we will multiply. So I will multiply 2 here. When I multiply 2 here, the number of hydrogen became 4 and even the oxygen is getting multiplied. 2 times 2 is 4 and oxygen also is getting multiplied. 2 times 1, it is 2. So we'll go to the reactant product side. Hydrogen is 3 here. It is not balanced. So to increase that, I will multiply 2 here. So when I multiply 2 there, the number of hydrogen atoms became 4 and oxygen atoms became 2. So oxygen and hydrogen, both the places it is balanced. But here even sodium is getting multiplied, no? So sodium is also becoming 2. To balance it, we will write 2 on the reactant side. Hence we will get. So if you write this reaction with the balancing, you will get complete 1 mark. So here we learnt about balancing chemical reactions. For more such concept understanding, subscribe to iThinkers.